7:28 in Matthew says, when Jesus had finished these words, the crowds were amazed at his teaching. I went through the book of Romans by James Dunn, or glanced at the 2 fat volumes. So we're saying, how about this for a bright idea? The teachings of Jesus constitute Christianity. You need to sound like Jesus. And then last night I thought, what about that marvelous text in Malachi where it says, I'm going to send John the Baptist in front of Jesus, and then the Lord of the covenant, the messenger of the covenant is coming. Ha-Adon, the Lord. It's the Messiah. He's the messenger of the covenant. What covenant would that be? It would be the new covenant, I think. So evangelicals have been misled very sadly when they've been told that Jesus lived strictly under the law. In the letter, he didn't. He's modifying that law. He's fulfilling the law, bringing it to a higher level of excitement. He's the messenger of the new covenant. Isn't that brilliant? We need to preach that a lot. No, not the messenger of the old covenant. He's Ha-Adon, the Lord, messenger of the new covenant. And then he dies to ratify that covenant, having given all the words of the new covenant in 5 blocks in Matthew. Then he says, now I'm going to die and bring this covenant into force. That is actually brilliant. I thought I knew these things, but I learned a lot just thinking about that last night. Looking back at our own theological history, we were told, look, Jesus said, I didn't come to destroy the law. Not a jot or a tittle will pass from the Torah. There you go. Then you'd better be keeping the Sabbath. That's in the 10 Commandments. And in our ignorance, we fell for that. We didn't read the rest of the verse, which says, I didn't come to abolish the law. I came to fulfill it, to make something of it higher than it was. So what we're reading in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the rest of the New Testament, is the fulfilled higher law. So we'll just rattle off a couple of examples. Jesus changed the law of divorce in one respect. Moses, they said, told us to write a certificate of divorce and put her away. Jesus said, no, that was a concession to the hardness of your heart. I'll tell you something else. Let's go back to Genesis. That's a change, isn't it? It's an abrogation of the letter of the law on that one point. Whatever that exception was in Deuteronomy 24. It doesn't matter. Jesus changed that. Then he says, don't stone that woman who was caught in adultery. That's a huge change, isn't it? Yes, he's the end of the law. He's the point of the whole law. He's also the end of the law of Moses in the letter. So evangelicals have been told that Jesus was strictly a letter of the lawkeeper. If so, then, you've pushed him off into the Old Testament. I think the easy way for the public to get this is there's a difference in the Torah in the letter and the Torah in the Spirit. That's easy, isn't it? The Torah in the Spirit is absolutely binding on all of us, but not the Torah in the letter. And that's the text then in 1 Corinthians 9:20, which has become so huge for us, where Paul says of himself, I, Paul, am not hyponomon. I'm not under the law, but I'm within the Torah of Messiah. And then the famous text in Hebrews, which says that the new covenant is entorad, in the Greek there, on better promises. There's a contrast. Easy way for the public to get hold of this is say, the Torah of Moses. In the letter, Jesus is violating it. But he's keeping the Torah of Moses in the Spirit as fulfilled. Somebody said, the Torah of Moses is now on steroids. The law was given by Moses, John 1:17. The law was given by Moses. Then there's a contrast of some sort. But grace and truth came by Jesus. That's a wonderful statement. What I had not realized fully, I thought I knew this, was that the law and the prophets were until John the Baptist. From John the Baptist on, the kingdom of God is being preached. That's the new covenant. That's where the dispensationalist line should be drawn, as far as John the Baptist, and from John onwards. Then I got to thinking, John was the greatest man ever. That's amazing. And he actually baptized Jesus. That's a new beginning, isn't it? So forget the dispensationalism which stops after Jesus and starts with Paul, as though Paul is the founder of Christianity. That's completely false. We've got to get over that and teach our friends. Paul did not found Christianity. Jesus did, by giving us the Torah of Moses in the Spirit. This is a huge event for us to see this clearly, and I hope we're getting it over. We've got to think it in a linear fashion here. Jesus begins to raise the law of the letter into the spirit. He doesn't get it all done because he says there are certain things I can't even tell you. Paul then certainly increases that. So think in a linear developmental fashion, and you've got it. Strictly speaking, until the blood shed on the cross ratified that, it hadn't become official. But as the Mark and comment there in Mark 7, thus he said, Mark comments, they may not have understood that at the time even. That doesn't bother me. He actually cleansed the food laws there.